to Horses, Hope, and Hustle, the podcast where faith leads, grit drives, and the Western way of life runs deep. I'm your host, Crystal Show, wife, horsewoman, entrepreneur, and believer that God doesn't waste the hard stuff. Around here, we talk real stories, big dreams, and the kind of hustle that's rooted in hope. So pull your hat down, pour that coffee, and let's ride. Today, I'm sitting down with Allison and Blake of Allison and Blake Real Estate at Coastal Realty and EquiAgent for a conversation about finding your lane in the horse industry. This one's a little chaotic, full of laughs and packed with real talk about building something that's actually yours. We're diving into figuring it out as you go, taking risks, and leaning into what makes you different. If you're trying to find your place or interested in equine real estate, this episode is for you. Let's go. All right. Well, do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves to our listeners?
Sure. I'm Allison Trimble.
And I'm Blake Westhoff.
And we are equestrian property specialists. I own Coastal Realty in Washington, and we're licensed in Washington, Alaska.
Very cool. I have to read the message that you sent me because it killed me when I had posted on Facebook, we're looking for a podcast guest. And Allison sends me this message. Blake and I special in equestrian properties and launched a national equestrian property designation last year called EquiAgent that is getting a lot of traction. We're also pretty funny. Might make a decent podcast guest if you start scraping the bottom of the barrel. We both chose non-pros, but both were below average trainers at one point.
I think that's nail on the head. Yeah.
It's actually our bio.
We really should put that maybe on the website somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's about as accurate as it could possibly be. So now you know everything. That's the podcast.
Cut.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because all of us are in the kind of or at least for us, adjacent to the equestrian industry. So, my degree is in animal science. I grew up in Alaska and grew up with horses and hunting and stuff, and then went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. Fell in love with cow horses there on the Quarter Horse Project. Did a lot of cattle stuff when I was in college, mostly, but definitely would have never thought I would have been something better paying. Probably I thought I was going to be when I went to college. So, but then I ended up being kind of like a professional non-pro for a number of years and trained my own security horses poorly, and did that. Dropped my status for a little bit in the Great Recession. And wonderful timing when it was why we had to do it. So then turned all of our brood mares into lesson horses, and that was about the time that Blake was maybe coming out of his freshman year in college at one point.
Freshman year in college. I'm deciding I probably don't know what I want to do, and was like, hey, I can ride some horses, and so literally clean stalls and
was my assistant trainer.
Was Allison's assistant trainer, and so that's how. Yeah, I got into it. I rode horses before. I grew up with horses, just doing 4-H random stuff. We had horses that we rode in the mountains and did hunting and packing and stuff. So I knew what a horse was and had kind of ridden-ish, but also couldn't pick up a lead. Didn't know any literally. I mean, I had the fastest horse in when I did 4-H. All the other kids had horses that were in training. They took lessons, all that stuff. I literally had a half Arab that I would pull out of the field. I got it for $1,000 in an auction.
A lot of money for that.
She was really pretty.
Mine was $200.
She was really pretty. And I would just get on and rip around. I mean, no idea what lead I was on, flying past all the other kids. And it's when you did I did some barrel racing, some equitation stuff, some showmanship. I mean, all the things that you could do poorly with your horse. Yeah, I did.
And he was about the same when he started showing at 19. Not much has changed.
Yes, and so then I did that. That worked for Allison for a few years, and then I actually went down and worked down in Arizona for a reining trainer down there, and worked and showed a little bit, and then realized again that I probably needed to get a real job. And so then I got licensed in Arizona, And then Allison and I hooked back up, and we're like, we should sell some houses together. And
I think in between you went back to school.
Yeah, I went back to school, finished my degree,
finished degree, then went and worked for a reining trainer that we knew from up here that moved down there. And then I think I kept training for a while, and then got married and had a little boy that came with it, and so had to have a real job. Not that I wasn't like struggling through horse training, but I don't know. Neither one of us horse training was really for it. Not that we couldn't sort of train a horse, but it just was hard.
Yeah.
And not in a hard way where like you could. It wasn't even really the money or anything like that. It was just you couldn't make people happy. I'd say for me, like it was really hard to be successful in a way that was meaningful for us. And I think we were both the same way, and we were pretty unwilling to do things with horses that were detrimental to horses. And we love futurity horses and all of that stuff. So that in no way is a dig on, I mean, that's what we have now, on the industry or anything like that. It just, I don't know that we were made for that life. So we both in different ways kind of got out of things. I grew up in a real estate brokerage. My grandma was a realtor in Portland, and then my parents owned real estate brokers. So I grew up kind of in the business, maybe a little bit different than what we do now, but that was really familiar. So when I was like, we had sold a bunch of horses. When we got Carve, my son, to come live with us, and got married, and then just, I don't know, I worked for another brokerage for a while, and kind of had a lot of horse training clients that had homes and had things and trusted you already. And so then, I'd been doing it for a couple of years when I opened a branch of my parents' brokerage here. And then Blake was looking to move maybe back to Washington, and that's it. So we've worked together for a long time. We've been through a lot of stages and iterations of life together that don't have to do with real estate. So we have built a business together that kind of specializes in equestrian properties. And then, so for like 10 years doing it this way. And then last year we launched equestrian property specialist designation called EquiAgent, which is an educational program for equestrian property realtors, and also just a way to bring people together. One of the things that happens when you're that's a little different than horse training is you're licensed in a particular state. So you have access to sales and you operate in that state. But unless you're licensed in other states or maybe have referred business, there isn't kind of especially not with horse properties, where you can connect with other specialists that really are. So say, somebody's moving from Washington to Tennessee, we may never referred something there or don't know, somebody there. And we don't want to send our really great client that has a bunch of friends here, that might refer business to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So we launched that last year.
Yeah, and it's been a really cool process because it's just bringing in a bunch of agents from all over the country that we wouldn't have a relationship or wouldn't know otherwise, except for through this. And it's pretty cool because so many agents have specialized and devoted their entire careers to being equestrian property realtors and really focus on what that means to representing clients and preparing properties for sale and just everything that goes into it. So it's been really cool to, kind of piggyback off of those people and, leverage them, and then also, just learn from what they're doing. So.
Yeah,
also, we like going to national shows, and it's really hard to make any money when you're at a national show.
And you're only licensed in
Washington. So,
yeah.
But that's true for everybody who does it, right? Like, you're out spending all your hard-earned money on horses, just lighting it on fire, and you would like to be able to make more of that money to light on fire. Yeah. At least that's what we do. Yeah. And so, a few years ago, I got back. Well, I think Blake maybe got back into owning a horse first. Well, let's be clear. I got out of it and kept 10 horses, right? So that was my getting out of it. So I kept every little angel baby I'd ever shown and loved. And so just, they didn't have quite the lifestyle they were used to. But then as we built things back up, Blake, I think.
I got back into it. Yeah, I got a futurity horse, a 2-year-old Rainer that Matt McCausland found for me. I randomly were just like, I kind of want to get a horse. And so then Allison and I were like, well, who sounds good? So then we ended up calling Matt, and he was right before he left for the fraternity. So I was like, hey, if you come across a really cheap horse, pick it up. And so he did that, and it worked out really well. We had that one in training, got it going, sold it to another non-pro, kind of leveled up horses. And then, we've just been kind of hitting it hard.
And I think I went back. So I had lived in California when I graduated and then moved to Washington. And so I had a lot of friends, and I showed mostly in futurity stuff for a long time, derby stuff, all that limited age event stuff. And then one of my friend's husbands passed away that we'd known for a long time that was in California, and I went down to spend some time with her when that happened, and ended up going and visiting and seeing Justin Wright again down there, and it was like, my studs were really old, and I was like, well, maybe I'd get one again. So that took him about 16 minutes to find one, and I was like, great. So I bought one, and we were just going to be owners. I think you bought to show, and I was struggling with some health issues and stuff, and so I didn't think I would ever show again. And so I bought Garth. Our first one was from Ron and LaDonna Emmons at the Sound Futurity Sale in Reno. And so then he went to the futurity, and then we brought him back up here. And so that kind of started the, downward spiral into horse ownership again at that level, and then ended up showing again. And you've had a couple horses since. So we could probably talk without leaving any room in the room.
So what do you want to talk about?
You guys are really carrying the conversation. I'm just learning.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I haven't said a single word.
Yep. Nobody even needs to ask a question. There they go. Sorry. We get to live with these ourselves all the time. So.
Yeah.
Well, this is hilarious. I mean, I think it's awesome that you guys found your niche in the horse industry, because I think that's huge. A lot of people that don't know a lot about the industry or whatever, they're like, oh, I have to be a trainer to be in it. And it's like, no, you can be in the industry in many different ways. So I think that's awesome that you guys found your niche.
Well, and like I breed. I have 2 studs, so we still I do all my, do all my own breeding stuff here, which I do all my own stunts poorly. But there are a lot of other places, whether it's insurance or, there's so many adjacent things, because that's like when I went to college, it's an animal science degree, and my minor was in ag business. I did mostly real property stuff in that and livestock production, but there's so many things other than being a horse trainer. There's all the breeding things. There's, sales of all different stuff, feed companies, supplements, like all the things that go along with it.
Horse health stuff.
There are quite a few equestrian property specialist realtors. The thing that is really challenging with that, I think, is you can't just love horses. Like, it's not enough to just love horses to be good at this, because these are expensive properties. It's maybe the one decision, somebody's biggest asset. Like, it's not something you can stub your toe at. So we see a lot of realtors who just really love horses or had a horse once, but don't really have a lot of experience in all of the things that go into a property, buying or selling. And also, you can't just love horses and not be a really proficient, connected, experienced realtor. So that is a very challenging to do both things, to get it. And you kind of have to stumble through stuff to get enough experience, because until, there were a handful of educational courses offered maybe once a year in person, small stuff, nothing available as far as an education until we launched this thing. So it wasn't readily available to get the knowledge that you needed. And, arguably maybe not after you watch it either, but.
I don't believe that.
Anyway, not good reviews. Not good reviews.
It's been really well received. I think that's been a really cool part, is a lot of the really seasoned agents that have taken it. Because we have kind of, anybody can take the course. It's a 4-hour course that we've designed that kind of walks you through from the very beginning of what are horse statistics in the U.S., what does the economic impact look like, why is it a big deal, and then kind of the infrastructure on properties from septics and wells to arenas. And then kind of goes into more marketing yourself and advertising and sponsorships and things like that to kind of leverage your position. So it's a really broad course, which is really hard to do. It's so much information over you could teach a 4-hour course on every single one of those little subjects.
Right, arena footing.
Fencing, there's just so much that goes into it. So it was really cool to have some other agents that had been doing this for 30, 40 years, have been equestrian property agents, and that they took a lot from it and gained valuable information. Was cool and inspiring and
made us not want to jump off a bridge so much.
Because it was also a lot of stuff that's outside of our skill set, creating a whole course, a website, you have to come up with every single word that you say.
Brush your hair. There's a lot. If you're being memorialized forever on video, it is hard to do. Every time somebody's you're doing a podcast and you're oh, this is going to be so easy. And then you're
Oh my God.
Stupid I look. I mean,
or how stupid you sound. I looked better, I'm gonna say, on the video. I mean, I was like pretty polished. I was like a news anchor. Looked really good. Sounded like an idiot. I like couldn't read the teleprompter. Like was like I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. It was so bad. And so Allison,
I have like elevator voice and
really
have
good.
The worst facial expressions. Like
6 eyelashes in one of them. It was good. So I was like, whatever. I mean, at least you sounded not like an idiot, and
to redo a lot of things. And we're like recording it in my barn in the tack room, so we have it like.
So it's either really cold or really hot.
Really dusty. Or we didn't have anybody
to help us. Going off if anything was happening. Like, well, this is authentic, I guess.
Or we have like our camera all set up, and then that would have turned off, and nobody knew the battery would have died.
My eyes still twitching. My eyes still twitching.
If we could even go through the. I mean, it's
too triggering. I can't go through the
4-hour course, so to get 4 hours of usable, and I think we started it and thought, we know this so well. We're just going to be able to, because look at us. We've talked for 20 minutes straight, not taking a breath, right? Except for you're trying to give very
articulate information. And we were just both like, and then you set up a camera and there's like, it's easy to talk to somebody like this too. Like, somebody's like receiving feedback. But you're like literally just talking to the wall and then trying to deliver this like information. And like, it was too much.
It was awful. It turned out,
not their niche.
Not sure, but so it is interesting when you start to try to do something so you have this like skill set that are in things, and then turns out so either you have to be able to pay the very best to do it, and it's so expensive, or you have to figure out how to try to do it. And I mean, it was.
So we kind of did a combination of things. I think we like definitely paid some people to do like copy for the website and things like that, and like the video editing and putting it all together and some of that stuff. But also a lot of it was like us trying to do it because it was very expensive to get off the ground too, which, you're.
And then fortunately, once you're done, you get to take something. So like in real estate, we're representing somebody else's needs, right? So we can like really dial in on that and do all those things. This is sales, where you get both rejection and criticism, which we do super with. No. Like we do really well with that. So now you have to go take
this little, to tell me how cool and great I am,
little baby that we have raised and take it out, and people be like, "Why should we give you any money? Who do you think you are?" It's been a real opportunity for growth for us.
Yeah.
Which at my age, I'm 10 years older, is I felt like I'd had enough of those character building experiences for a while. Like it turns out we're going to continue.
We're still in it. Still character building.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I don't care like what discipline or what you're doing in the industry. That is a huge part of it, is like keeping up with the times. And it is hard. It's hard to be on video when you're like trying to be like professional and be taken serious. And like you said, you're talking to a wall. I love this because it's just like you're having a conversation. Like,
totally. This is a lot, like I do
much more
yes, 1,000 times better than I do talking to a wall.
We also don't really have complementary skills. We just have the same skills. So it's really interesting when you don't have somebody to like,
We're like, who's going to set up the camera? No one can set up the camera.
Who's going to keep track of these things?
Yeah, who's our note taker? No, nothing.
I love that. It is interesting when you just said that. It made me think a lot about how even when we're first getting started showing and doing stuff like that, like you really do have to be willing to go out there and fall on your face and that kind of thing. It's hard to put yourself out there, and you have to get better, right? And you have to, like, if you're not in the arena, you can't win. So that's very tough. It just is. It's especially like leaving an industry like that at one time I felt very proficient in, and then stepping into real estate where I was a nobody and had to you had to build up to being we're top producers for sure in our area, and that's hard to do, and I must have been 30, my early 30s maybe. Yeah. And so you're just like have this thing that and now you've got to do something else, and so we did that. You're like, just kidding, you can do it again. And then went back to showing, which was just, honestly horrifying. And it was what I was the most comfortable doing for a long time. And then, you're back out there trying to.
It's like all the life lessons of horses that they give you, you know, like
keep delivering.
You just keep delivering in life, you know, just every time, falling and getting back on.
Yeah. But also we have learned that when you have nicer horses,
you
it happens less. Yeah. Which we have definitely gotten more into. And it is kind of the same about like being selective about your clients or selective about the places that you put your energy or do things, which for us, we'd like to do all of it, right? It's like, that's our personality. Well, I can do all of it. And that
doesn't always work.
Yeah, unfortunately. But so that is a big thing that I think, well, at least for me, for sure.
Yeah.
We have been trying to work on is being selective in who you have in your space and that kind of thing.
And what kind of projects you take on and what kind of properties and what kind of like, you know, trying to dial it in and like even find your niche within real estate or find your niche within, you know, anything that you're doing. I think it's important to do because all of this stuff, like I don't care what profession you're in, it's very draining no matter what, you know, it takes a lot out of you. And so finding stuff that like is fun and enjoyable, like the parts of it, like it's so fun going out to horse properties and looking at all these like beautiful equestrian properties or like touring around with people who are like want to bring their horses home, they have them boarded and they want to bring it home, and so trying to look at those, and it just is really fun, and it's something that's like inspiring and I enjoy it, and all the things where like there's lots of real estate portions, paperwork, writing contracts, stress, you know, you're looking at all these title reports and things that are really boring. And so
but also very important.
Also very important.
Both boring and important.
Yeah, but it's very fun to have the other parts that are like, you know, motivating.
I think it's what makes you want to go out and do it, because like selling real estate where a bunch of houses are the same is, you know, it's a pretty good gig. I mean, still you have the client management and all that stuff that can be really challenging, but you know, when you add in horse properties are all different, it keeps your ADHD. I mean, we're pretty, you know.
If you can't tell by how much we've talked.
By how hard it was to schedule us when we asked how hard it was to still schedule us. You know, so it keeps us really engaged and is interesting and all of that. I think it's
totally. And I think the one thing that's like really important, like real horses, I always had a hard time. You know, you're kind of making people like if you're putting yourself in a horse trainer position, right? You're getting somebody to spend a bunch of money invested in you, and a horse that could colic and die the next day. Like it's so much like risk in all of that, and I'm definitely more of like a risk adverse person. I like sound safe investments and things to be really like, you know,
and yet still have horses
risk free. Yeah, yet still have horses, but in real estate, it's you're helping people build like financial security. You're helping people in like really important times of their life to like make really good decisions around their life and surrounding money and all that stuff, which I think is more rewarding than some of the other stuff in the horse industry that I think is just challenging.
It's a tough balance, because for what somebody spends, like with the horses we have in training and stuff, the trickle down of that and what somebody receives out of it on the other end is lost in expense out of the way. So it doesn't change how important it is to me as a client or to anybody else as a client, right? It's still that much money out of your pocket that you had to answer the phone every single time. I mean, have to answer the phone so much in real estate to be able to afford to do this. And it's hard because that cost is real to say me, but the trainer receives a very small portion of that by the time everything board and, you know, training and expenses and horse trailers and travel and, you know, all the different things, insurance and all the things whittle down. So what that horse means to me and what that horse means to them, it's just out of balance. It's a tough way to do it. And so, and even with us who understand it, I mean, I just think for us, it was like, that was a hard problem to solve, because I think in this instance, we feel like we can probably keep people happier than we could in our training horse. There's so many things out of your control as a horse trainer, right? Even if you were doing the best job possible, and it's a really tough job, physically, mentally, all of those things. Right now, I'm just showing it as a non-pro, and like my horse was perfectly prepared for me. I get to get on and be like, oh, this thing wasn't ready.
Yeah,
you know? And it's still hard. Yeah, nicer horses than I ever owned. Yeah. You know, I mean, I love it. I was like, why did I do this in the first place? This is way better. So you do get to ride better. I rode a lot of like very average horses that, you know, I'd turn into something, and had some really nice ones, but not like how we've been able to have since, you know, and have with good trainers.
No, totally.
Yeah.
We rattled on there. Anything else? Yeah.
She's like, I don't even know what to say next with you. I know. I'm sorry.
Covered everything in the first 24 minutes and 10 seconds.
I love it. Yeah, we just don't stop talking.
It's also the time of day where like everything's happening really fast. So it's just like for us, our stuff is scheduled so tightly. So I have Blake keeps his horses here at my house, and we have horses. So like in the morning, I get up and clean stalls and do chores so then I can go work more.
Yeah.
So then I don't really get to ride. I have like one horse at home that I can ride. The rest are mares and babies, and I've got my best old mare out there refusing to foal. So you're also like watching the camera all night long, not sleeping. And like last night we were negotiating a multiple offer deal until almost midnight, on a property, and so then you're just not really sleeping, and my kid tried to come in because he just got back from school, and all of the things that it's a lot of life. There's a lot of life. I do think it's a benefit for us. We're really fortunate that we get to do this together, because there is a lot of times I think our clients don't have to get a B-roll person. Like there's not an assistant here. I mean, we have an assistant that's wonderful, but they never get like a B team player. And the reality of life is there's things that happen in your life that are, I've had conscious health issues. Like we've had different things happen for both of us that one of you has to kind of be out of the picture, and your clients have to be able to rely that there's someone there. So we're really fortunate that we like kind of travel through. I mean, we have some differences, but we kind of travel through life the same way, and our clients know what to expect from us. So I think that's a real benefit that we're not, you have to keep a pretty big staff to do the stuff that we're doing, or large, there's a lot behind the scenes that happens in real estate. And so I think we're fortunate. That's been really good for us. And partnerships don't last that long very often.
Yeah. I was going to say business partnerships are such a tough deal, because there's like the personal, the business, there's always a fine line between all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing on that stuff is just like being a big picture thinker. And I think both of us do a good job of that. Is like, you could get really down on like one transaction or one deal or one thing that like maybe
had to work more.
Yeah, maybe seems unfair in some like scheme. Like if you looked at that thing, it was really one-sided, or one of this is really one-sided, or one person gets paid more on this thing. But it's like, if you overarch and you look at the whole thing and big picture, long term, as long as you're aligned, I think
we both are really good about that.
Yeah.
That is the thing I think where people get sideways, is whether there's underlying stuff or there's something. I mean, it's just hard across the board. There's lots of times neither of us have any money.
Yeah, totally. Most of the time.
Because it touches, the horses were like, great, I can go to the Derby now.
Yeah.
Like it just breezes the bottom of my bank account.
Right.
So people should buy and sell real estate with us, because we do just reinvest it directly back into
we'll just be putting it back into. So you're really supporting the horse industry.
Show pads,
That's
hats.
Yeah.
We usually just have to find a hat anywhere we go. I mean,
yeah. Boots. I mean,
those are the people
with our business account, we'll be like, well, if we both get it, we can use the business account, and then we write it off because we needed it for work. Yeah.
We
needed new shorties hats for work. You don't know.
Dark one and white.
Don't listen to this if you were the IRS.
This is not a financial podcast. If you're loving this episode, be sure to listen to some of our past episodes, like episode 29, Horse Insurance 101 with Kristen York, 21, Cowgirl Confidence with confidence coach Brandy Turnipseed, or even episode 10, Starting Becoming Being, solo episode with yours truly. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on whatever app you're listening, and thanks for being here.
But that is a big part too, because we also because we specialize in horse properties, and because that's so like integrated into how we advertise, how we market our properties, where we meet our clients, where we promote them, like all of it, like we sponsor horse shows, all that stuff. We do write off like a large portion of our horse show stuff and horse expenses, is because we like have a model where we generate business through that. And so this also is a financial podcast.
There you go. There you go.
But it is true. It is a big part of being able to continue showing horses and doing things is those relationships that we build. And I would say we probably do 10 or 11 deals a year that came directly from being at a horse show, which is a significant amount of income that we would not have if we weren't there. So, and it would,
which is a real wash because we spend that much at the horse show.
But we get to be at the horse show. So I count it as a win. But it is like that you wouldn't get the same level of like building relationships with people because our relationships are genuine. They're not like, we're not like, hey, getting to know you, Crystal, so we can sell you a place, right? Like sales doesn't, people don't like to be sold on anything.
Especially horse people, like don't like to be sold. People are really skeptical, I think. And every horse person's an expert, like
on everything.
On everything.
You know?
Well, of course.
Yeah, that's totally. So it is though, you have to like just genuinely be in it to where then people go, oh, you're trustworthy, oh, I know, you know.
Right.
I have a relationship with you, I know you, I can
well, and it's people's real lives. So when someone is that you are in also a social situation with, that you're maybe friends with, that you have other relationships with, you're going to know lots about. I mean, confidentiality is a huge part. I was sitting at a meeting with somebody that I used to write articles for a magazine for, and she was like, "Oh, those would be such great stories," and I was like, "But those are other people's stories, right?" And so, especially when you're doing business, we do business with our friends all the time. Like, and we hear people say, "Oh, we're not going to do business with friends," and we're like, "Well, that's a bummer because we're actually better realtors than friends." But I mean, missing out. But we have we don't have that happen that often. I think because we work really hard. If it's your friend or someone you know personally, you know, we're always going to have a lot of, you know, be very confidential about things, but you even more because people, I mean, you're going to know things about people's finances. You're going to know things about, you know, their lives, why they're moving, family history, like stuff like that. And you have to be really, you know, conscientious about that. People have to trust you, and you only can be trusted if you're trustworthy. I mean, it is really similar to like relationships. Horses. You cannot
go and do anything with the horse if it doesn't trust you also. So I think that also is like a good.
And the truth is, we don't ride well like that. So like they have to be broke. So it's kind of the same
really
thing.
Trust
we're
you.
like, we're not out there showing things. Like I'm not catch riding, right? I mean, I do catch ride mostly entirely now, but like historically, it's not we would never have been those people. We'd be like, I don't know anything about you. So what do we do? You know, like that wouldn't be for us. And so I think it's worked out well for us because I think we, just like in our relationship, we keep track of that. Like we will never do something for one deal like that's unethical or that even gets out in the weeds a little bit, because one deal is never worth your entire reputation.
That same like big picture thinking on is this really one thing worth blowing an entire, you know, future of
which
business,
can be hard because real estate is not a monthly paycheck. I mean, you may make $200,000 one month and $2,000 the next month, and there is no planning and there's no way, and you're gonna be like, oh, this is going so great, new futurity horse, right? And then you're like, whoa, 2008, like, or you know, just COVID
was wild, like, and ended up being, we thought that was going to be like the death of us, like nobody was going to be working, it was going to be terrible, and then that ended up being the best years in real estate. 2021 was huge. So it just is so much unforeseen, working on a lot of faith.
Lots of
Yeah. Well, on the note of reputation, everybody says it, but it's so true. The horse industry is so small. Like we winter down here in Arizona, and it's insane how many people, you know, I was in Montana. That's how I met you. Allison was at the Montana, the Rain Cow Horse Fraternity Montana 2 years ago, I think. But like it's so tiny. Like we meet people down here all the time from up north or everywhere, and it's like, if you do bad business, it doesn't take long at all to get around in the industry.
Well, I mean, and so you have to be. It's a combination of being really competent, right? So you have to be top of your field, which in real estate is like so much technology now. The way photos are taken, drone photography, like all the things. How do you present things? Like all of that is very technically proficient. And I think what we do a good job of, I've been thinking about this a lot more lately because we've been going on a lot more listing appointments with people we don't know, because it kind of started out where we would get mostly referrals, which we love. We're like, oh, you think we're great? We think we're great. This is perfect.
Yeah,
you know,
it's great.
Best situation. And then it was like, well, now people are like, you know, I think there's enough, you know, in the last 2 years, something like 74% of realtors didn't do a single sale last year, right? Like it's been a little tough.
Rough.
Yeah.
But in those times, it actually, for people who are rolling up
Still
their
hanging
sleeves and working hard, it's a disparity, right? Like you get more business. So now we have people interviewing us that might not have before because they care way more, because things aren't just fine just because you get it on the market. They're really caring a lot. So we're doing a lot of interviews, which, we hate because we just like to win. So that means, and you can't really, it's like you're competing against someone you don't know who you're competing against. The general public has no information. Like, I remember years ago, a guy said, well, we picked the other guy because he did more sales than you. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, I went to the listing appointment and just talked about objectively, he sold half as much as I did the year before. But I realized they don't have any way to tell that. Like, there's no way you can go and see how much somebody sells. You can get an impression. I can see it because I can look it up on the MLS. So I spent the whole time talking about what I would do on their property and all this, Pollyanna stuff. And here he was like, I sold more than her. And I didn't know that I was supposed to do that, which I still don't. But we do a better job of presenting that we do stuff. It's hard. It's like trying to toot your own horn while also talk about what you're doing. But what I was thinking about that matters more in equestrian properties and ranch properties and ag properties, which we do a lot of all that stuff, is, people still want to be able to look you in the face and shake your hand, while you're explaining about 3D tours and all the other stuff. So I think that's, a place where we kind of meet that.
Right. Like having a down home approach to also leveraging all of our technology and all the latest MLS platforms and technology that you can use to get your property out in front of more people. So I think we do a good job at that.
That's awesome. There's way more to it than just getting your license.
Well, there's so many different facets of real estate. I mean, you have to be marketing and TikToking and doing things online to make your stuff go viral and get traction online. But then you also have to know about private property rights and land use and wells and septics and home inspections and have contractors and be able to pick out pillows to go on the couch and also you know what I mean? And also
use your shop for staging furniture.
Literally. And also clean the toilet and also talk to them about their divorce and how you want to best keep their how we can best navigate keeping the conversation separate while we're trying to negotiate the same thing because they won't talk to each other.
Or talk through you.
Or talk through you. And so it's just they're literally, you have 14 different hats.
Or you're
which
trying
I think
to,
is also horses.
Or you're trying to figure out how to unwind somebody's, 70 years of life where they lost their spouse or their parents or their, and you're trying to help them navigate that. And it is sad and hard. And I mean, you just do build really good relationships with people. And I think the thing that we both really probably care too much. I had somebody tell me one time, I don't know why I care so much about everything, but it's true. And it makes you really good at what you do, but it also makes it a really hard job because if you're not very good at what you do, if you don't spend time genuinely just ruminating on problems and problem solving and all that stuff, but it's also really exhausting. So it's hard because you're taking all of your regular life stuff that happens, and then you're also taking on a bunch of other people's
stuff,
things,
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's also going back to horses and the lessons that they teach you and the problem solving and the number of different hats you have to wear as a horse owner and as somebody in the industry. I think there's so many transferable skills that you get from that, all your experience as a horse trainer and dealing with clients and all that stuff is
especially if you weren't very talented like us.
Yeah,
really
right. So then you find what could I be good at, but also that I have some of these skills. But it does. I mean, I think a lot of it really translates into other industries that makes you a good.
Horse training is not for everyone and isn't for hardly anyone. I mean, I would say the same thing about what we do. It's just finding where my parents used to always try to get me to come back. I thought I'd go back to Alaska and work in the family business. And after I got my license, and it takes you about 3 years to get, then I was like, I made more money in the first 3 years than I ever would have thought I would have made in a year. And I told my parents, I was like, man, you should tell me about this real estate thing. This was great, because it's really better suited to my personality and to Blake's for sure than training horses. Not because we couldn't get a horse trained, but just all of the other stuff
that's really hard about the industry, I think.
Getting too attached and getting those things I still am too attached to every horse I own. That's how it is. And in real estate, you can be attached to people. That's okay. That works,
even after you sell their house, you're friends with them. And
yeah.
We have so many
Wilbur comes for Thanksgiving, Christmas, our very adopted old grandfather. We have quite a few of those. Yeah.
I love that. I do agree on the horse thing. Like, I think if a young person can either go work for a trainer or just get the opportunity to swing a leg over lots of different horses, they are going to learn so many different life skills. Like, I've had a lot when I was, starting my business and, the moments where you're like, I don't even know how I'm going to pay these bills. I don't even know how I'm going to eat. Like, you have to stay calm in the chaos. And I'm like, I learned that from horses because only one of us got to panic at a time. And if the horse was panicking, I couldn't panic. Like, totally. I do think there's so many skills if you really stop and break it down, whether you end up staying as a trainer or not. But horses really do teach us so much.
Panicking quietly was definitely something that I have taken into my adult life, that where people don't really know how like distressed you are because you're not. I had a doctor tell me one time that I wasn't presenting like I was in enough pain or something like that. It was when I was having my first daughter, and I was like, well, I'm very uncomfortable if that helps, but like you just get so used to, you're just going to get bronch stomped anytime. I started lots of colts and stuff and got bucked up a lot. I got bucked off in the Ron Rawl. So when I did the quarter horse project at Cal Poly, my horse was the only mare on the project and was not a very nice creature. I still have her. She's 29 because of course we bought her and I showed her the maturity the first year. That would be the reasonable step.
Because she cares too much.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how my life took like a hard left. I would have thought I would have been like a attorney or something, but nope, here I am starting colts. And she didn't even buck me off. I'd barrel raced and 4-H and like all sorts of stuff like that, but never done much like lateral motion. And she was so cowy and so quick. I literally like scattered the herd with Ron Rawls. I mean, we would ride with like Sandy Collier, Teddy, Ron Rawls, like all these just like amazing greats. And here I'm just like in a pile of cow poo, scattering the entire herd because my horse just ran off with me. And I remember I wasn't super popular on the project of 6 people. And I just remember going to like a thing afterward and they just kept rewinding and playing me falling off over and over. But that horse sold for the most, still wasn't very much money, and I still own her. So great life. I feel so sorry for her because it was my first maturity horse. And I just remember I knew nothing and I trained her and I feel so sorry for her. So she has a great life, lives in a very nice show barn. She managed to make it to where I could afford a nice place. So she has a great stall, a hooded blanket. She's 29. She's doing great. Eating senior, 4 meals a day. Great life.
I love it. I think that's back to the whole being okay looking dumb or whatever. The first time though, it's like you have to pay your dues. We all have to pay our dues. You either sit on the couch or you don't focus on looking stupid for a minute because everybody's been there.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
A lot.
Too many times.
Yeah. Some of us still go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Anything else you can think of? I'm sure we could talk. We can literally talk. We will be exhausted afterward, but
ad nauseam.
Literally could talk for 6 hours. So anything else you can think of for your readership?
I wanted to circle back on the networking thing because I think you guys brought up some really cool point of views. Is like, yes, we're putting up the money. Like you're putting up the money to go to that show and it's costing you and you might not see a return right then and there. But I think that being able to focus on and take advantage of that networking is huge in this industry too. And it goes way further than people think. And I think that's something, like I said, just to kind of touch base on, or for new people in business that are like, oh my God, I can't afford to go to this event because it's not going to pay me back right away. It's like, really, you can't afford not to.
You can't afford not to. I agree wholeheartedly with that, especially if you're chatty Cathy's like us, because we'll be sitting somewhere watching and you're talking to your neighbors and, you don't, not being annoyingly so, but like it's pretty natural to have a conversation with somebody. Or, I would say don't be afraid to talk to people. Most people are really nice. And at these horse shows, the people who are there, they're either training pretty nice horses, they have disposable income enough to be going somewhere and doing something. That's how, the places we have our horses in training now are because we really believe in the people like that. Yeah. We believe in how they, and they do win a lot. They're fantastic that way, but it is that we genuinely believe in their commitment to stuff. And especially like for us, we've done it long enough. Like winning is awesome. I love it. I really love to win. 5 stars, but not at the expense of everything else. That's not how we got not why we got out of training, not why we've gotten where we are. Like
not why you got into horses. It's not to win. It's for the entire experience of having it be fun and engaging and exciting and, something to look forward to and all that. And I think that like it's easy to get kind of in a trap of like only making decisions to win or to be like at the top. And sometimes you have to like shift up that thinking so that the whole process is enjoyable, because if you're not having fun, it's not worth any of the money. Like, that's why everybody does it. They love horses and it's fun.
If anybody's in this as a client because they think they're going to make money on it, they're not going to last very long. So don't worry about that.
Right.
Because that is not not that you can't have a good lick or you can't have a horse that wins a bunch or sends itself down the road. Absolutely, that can happen. But I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in the fact that they think they need to win, and if things don't go well, they get embarrassed and then don't want to interact with their clients or don't want to do that. And like most of the time, your clients are there supporting you as much as the horse, right? And so maintaining that relationship, I think that doesn't mean you're not catering to them, you're not, bowing down your client. It's nothing like that. But like that relationship is usually as important to people who are doing it, especially like for people like us who aren't doing it anymore. And we really know what it's like and have a lot of empathy, and we like to be back in it. We love our horses and that kind of thing too. You just be honest with them. Like if they love their horse enough and their horse isn't going to make it, but they want their horse to keep going and they want to spend that money, that's cool. Maybe it's not the right horse for you, and you can be honest about that. But I do think that's something people can improve on. And it's something we have to be really honest with. I was talking to somebody on the phone today whose place is on the market that they would like to maybe shift over to us. And I just said, I would love to have it. Absolutely great place. Love what you've done with it. I think it's overpriced. And like, that doesn't mean I don't think we could do a better job. Maybe we could, maybe we couldn't, but like it's a beautiful place. Someone's going to love to own it. The market is who tells you whether or not it's good. So it's just like a horse can either do these things or they can't. That doesn't mean, it's not like it doesn't have to have this really negative connotation along with things. That's hard to do. Delivering hard information. That's what we do most of the time, is like deliver.
One, it's hard when it's like so personal. I think horses to people are really personal. Like it's like everybody's drawn to it because it like has this kind of hold on you of, some sort of emotional or lunacy. Yeah, whatever it is. But it's really important to you and like something you hold like near and dear. And so then it's hard when stuff, there's bad news that has to be delivered around it, when something doesn't go right, when you disappoint yourself in it, like But if you were honest with your clients, the bad is still going to be there, and whether you caused it or didn't cause it or whatever it is, and whether you still show up and you still have a good attitude, and there's so many things that you do have control over that can definitely change the like trajectory of how you move through it. Because you have to be honest about it, right? It doesn't have to mean every horrible detail or everything like that. You don't have to like deliver it, but like that's for us. We have to deliver. People things fall out of contract. We had to, like, so you get earnest money put earnest money down when you make an offer on a place. And so that's kind of holding it. A lot of ways you can get out of it. Buyer can retain the earnest money. Hardly ever happens when a seller gets to retain it. But we had a place last year that we went under contract. I don't think this was shared. This isn't our client's information we're sharing. And so literally the night before, I thought the agent was calling to be like, yeah, we're good. We were clear to close. Documents had been signed. Everything was done. And the brothers got in a fist fight over the one brother's new girlfriend. They're the buyers, not our client. Got in a fist fight and walked away from $7,000 because they weren't going to live together. Did not buy the house. We were like staging moved out. Everything's done. We were the night before closing.
Oh my gosh.
And you have to call your client and be like, hey. And it was a client whose mom had passed away, and it was a house that they grew up in, and it was a hard emotional deal. And we had to call and be like, hey, buddy, you sitting down? And so that they ended up they got to keep the $7,000. We went back on the market. It sold for $20,000 more than we were under contract for 2 weeks later. They made like a $27,000 swing in profit. That is not usually how that goes. But it was great. But it was great. Probably the thing that I think we struggle with, and I think we would agree with this, we both like to be able to cause good things to happen. Like we work hard enough and we're smart enough, doggone it, we're good looking. We can make this all come together. And there's so much of that you don't have control over in real estate. Right?
Even when you do everything, you did every single, crossed every T, you dotted every I, you did every single thing in your power. And like, you were almost there. And then, but like, it's like that with showing or doing anything, you can be like, so right there, you can do every single thing to prepare. You can be so, you've watched every video of your old showings. You've gone to every lesson. You've gone to, you've ridden to hide off your horse, and you think it's going to be so great. And then somebody moves a tarp and your horse spooks or something, and you're like,
but what we do try to make sure that people know, and because we've done this long enough now, that's hard as that is, that something is going to go wrong and we will figure it out. Usually that's true. But usually it's where like somebody offers on a property, like competitive offers or something, and they don't get it and they feel really disappointed. And so as annoying as this is for us, the truth is it always works out, right? And that's what we try to always
instill. It's like, it's a big enough life decision and a big enough like impact on your life that it will 100% work out the way it's supposed to. You can miss out on a house that you thought you loved and
you hadn't seen anything that fit ever.
And then you don't get the house, and then 2 weeks later the perfect house comes on the market. And the number of times people tell me, oh my God, like I am so happy that we ended up with this house and we didn't get that other house, even though I thought that was like it. And
so you also get to be cheerleaders. Counselors, therapists. So there's that. But it is really true. Like things do work out in the end. And that's even with like the money flow or things like that. Like it can get really easy to get worried because it is such a cyclical thing in real estate. And you can have a lot of money out, right? Like it costs us thousands of dollars every listing. So if we have 16 or 17 listings, we might have $50,000 out in advertising and photos and stuff that people could just change their mind about or, whatever. And sometimes you just have to lean into it and trust the process. Kind of like horse training, got to show the horse you have underneath you that day. So you think we are getting better about that, begrudgingly.
If you could go back and do anything different, would you? Or what would it be if you would?
Well, professionally or just like
I got a lot of personal things I would have done differently.
I feel like we keep intertwining professionally and personal. So either way, if there's a big one.
I think early on I would have like gave myself a lot more grace, like failing and not doing well and not being like not succeeding at everything. I think that was really hard for me because I'd always been like, this sounds conceited, but like good at things, kind of like things kind of just like came like easily. Like schoolwork was pretty easy. The stuff you like kind of moved through, like I did leadership stuff and like FFA and all that stuff. And like lots of the stuff just like came naturally and like filled. And I was like, yeah, good. No, I got this. And then you get into like adulthood and you're like trying to like fumble through stuff. And I think that like both professionally and with horses and stuff, like it was so embarrassed to mess up or to do bad or to like have something not go well. And like, that's all part of it. And I envy the people that are doing it and doing it gracefully. And I think we can all do better at that. And I think I've come into that, but definitely it's a lesson that keeps happening to me. So maybe I need to learn it more.
I think I'm getting taught the lesson of letting go on repeat for 40 years. And I'm trying this year because, usually I would agree very much. Blake and I are very similar that way. And I really believed all through childhood I had just enough adversity, just enough success to really believe that and I don't mean this in a conceited way, genuinely, like I think I started training horses because it was the first thing I was ever really like genuinely not very good at. Like, and not that I couldn't, like, don't get me wrong. I was rodeo queen. I was, 4-H'er of the year. I like did all that stuff. I could get to the top of stuff, but like really good, like Sandy Collier good, or like any of that, like back then it was like Joanne Carollo and Annie Reynolds and like all of those women that just were so good. And I was just not, for a lot of reasons. I didn't have cattle and I was trying to train in Pacific Northwest with no cattle or anything. And just, we didn't ride with anybody. So, there were a lot of reasons that didn't work out. And I still won a lot and did well, but like, it was the first thing that was really like hard. Like I couldn't get it figured out, and it's still hard objectively. But I think that turns into this so then I'm just going to figure it out, right? Because I really think that I thought that when good things happened, it was my doing, and when tough things happened, it was because I didn't do what I needed to do. So it just builds this very interesting, unfortunate personality, and it does though. It's it's like what you try to instill is hard work and good work ethic and all of those things in your kids, and belief in themselves and confidence and all these things. And I think you get these weird molds of people, specifically Blake and I. And I think people see people who have big personalities, which we both do, and think everything's really, especially if you're being pretty successful most of the time, and think things are really easy.
They don't know the internal struggle.
It's a really dark place to be. But I do, and I have a really hard time. Just like I can sit on something and figure it out. That same your greatest strengths are usually also your greatest weaknesses. And so if something tough happens or I have a tough interaction, I could still tell you stupid things I said in front of people in when I was 26.
I can say third grade.
And can't stop talking, so you just keep saying it. It's just if you could just shut your mouth, that'd be so cool, to myself. And so it is, so you also don't have a lot of grace for yourself, but people think you're not aware of your shortcomings. And so with personalities that are big, and people think if they could just knock you down a peg, right? And we are very self, when I jokingly said doing something that involves sales and rejection is I don't like to be sold anything, and the last thing I want to do is try to sell somebody on me, on I can sell him on Blake, he's fantastic,
right.
But it's
but when
really
you're trying
tough
to do it.
And so at this age, and I'm raising girls, and I have a son, and you're trying to think about how someone can be more content, because I don't know that I would say either one of us are particularly we're a lot tied to achievement, right? Which is really a challenging thing to break, is when you tie your self-worth to achievement,
doing something or
being somebody or doing whatever. And I'm working through my dad aging, and my parents are living with us now, and wanting to make sure that that's not the only thing I am or you are, is just the things that we've done. And so working really hard on being able to let things go, which is hard to even say, because that sounds like such a quitter.
Good job for you for saying
but you know what I mean? It is as an adult. I'm 47 now, and that's hard for me, to just be you know what, they're not meant for me. That person's not, they don't, for whatever reason, they don't like me, and that's hard. I don't not like to not be not in a people pleaser a really lame way, but we're awesome. How can you not like us?
Look at all this awesome stuff I'm doing. You should
dance show, whatever. And so, and some people just don't, for whatever reason, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's not a you problem. I can say that to somebody else really easily.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds like a me problem. Sounds like a me problem. Yeah. Sounds like I could just figure it out. So that's been a real, because I think both of us are a lot if we can figure something out or figure a situation out, we can work
or just
within
do a little
that
better,
really
or do another thing, or sit at the computer for another hour. You can do it.
Anyway, that would be it. 9 years later, that is what we would do. So, what would I do?
She's well, I was hoping for a 1 minute segment, maybe, maybe.
Hi, we had to air this in its entirety because they never took a breath for weekends.
I know the editing. Sorry, the editing is going to be tough, because you're going to be I don't know where to cut them off.
You can't.
We're not. We're just going to let all of it fly. No editing. Raw.
I love it.
I've enjoyed watching your podcast. I've enjoyed a lot of the people you've had on and some of the things. Did you find a repro person?
Thank you. I did. Which was
we can move to Allison next for repro. She's really, we do a lot of our own at home.
I have my vet's old ultrasound, which he has taught me to use, that is supposed to be the kind that has an eye thing, but I can't handle the confinement of having an eyeglass thing with it. So I have to hang it on my socks that I bought from a different vet, and it's attached to an old computer screen that the visibility is not super good on. So we know one's pregnant. We think the other one's pregnant.
We think.
A little bit of also I dropped the screen on the concrete, so there's a crack that kind of goes right about where I think the pregnancy is.
Yeah.
Not come back in the heat, so.
Whatever, the first time we did it, the first year we bred horses, we got 3 bred.
Same day.
Same day.
All scooter cats.
Dang.
I know. We had them all synced up. They were all together, so it just that happens naturally. But
has that happened?
We're gonna take credit for it, but 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
So we did track it.
We also collect the studs here, which is a complete goat rope, and they're both like really good.
Yeah,
but we can't ever get the the right temperature. Like it's always like between when the kids have to go to school or like before that, and so you're always on a time crunch anyway. Right?
Yeah. Between appointments,
and every time
rain.
And every time we go, horses get bred in the wild all the time.
So it's fine. How sanitary does it need to be? Mm-hmm.
One of our last ones last year, and the mare did get pregnant. The stud fell off the dummy into the sand. Totally dirty sand everywhere. Caught the collection. Had to breed. I mean, the mare was gonna ovulate. Like had to breed her. It's like little small, very tiny sand pieces. I think that's how pearls.
It was her own horse. So
I think it's how pearls are made. We're gonna name the baby Pearl.
Pearl.
It's like disclosure.
In the moment.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're just standing there, just like you can't collect again. You can't collect again, right?
And we're like in the wild, this could happen
every time. In the wild, this is better than the wild. No one was bit. Nobody was kicked down. Look, besides him, this guy.
Yeah.
So
fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting it. It's
we're getting it done. We have I don't know if you looked at the actual rates, but I think that they all get bred.
We have 4 babies coming.
Yeah, 4 coming.
Yeah,
good.
That's awesome. Another hat that you guys get to wear.
Literally.
Because we can't afford to hire anybody to do it. Yeah.
It'd be one. Yeah.
Because we always think we can do the thing, right? Like we're always like, well, we can figure that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did go to school for it. It's not a total, but like when I went to college and did the breeding enterprise, there was no frozen semen in horses. That's how long ago it was. So.
She was live covering like the Mongolian horses that were like the first prehistoric horses. Prove me wrong.
You can't.
There's no camera. There's no VHS.
I have some pictures in a folder. There's fire. No one will ever know what happened.
Oh, that's awesome. So if people want to follow you guys as real estate or your EquiAgent is open to anyone, right?
It's open to you can go to so it's EquiAgent.com. As a realtor, you can go through the course and do all the stuff, but there's also a part there that if you're looking to buy or sell an equestrian property, you can go and put your information in and get matched with an EquiAgent in your area.
Yes, we have EquiAgents all over the country and can refer you to people who are specialized that we know personally, that we vet,
taken the course,
that have taken the course, that we know have demonstrated excellence in equestrian properties. So,
look how you're just spitting that out.
That's so
wow.
And if you want to follow along with our dog and pony show, you can find us on TikTok.
Our TikTok is mostly horses and funny dumb videos of
Allison Blake Real Estate. We'll post 6 videos in a row and then not for 6 months.
You don't know. But a lot of horse content. Some Kardashian voiceovers.
Blake makes a good Kardashian.
Lots of things. So we got some good content on there. Allison Blake Real Estate and Facebook.
Oh yeah,
we're on Instagram. We're everywhere.
I can't get my Instagram open, but there is a page on Instagram.
Love it. Well, thank you guys for taking time out of your wild schedule to sit down with me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting us talk at you for an hour.
I know. I need a nap now.
Well, I mean, the plus side is like I really didn't have to ask questions; they were all answered.
Well, this is the easiest podcast I've ever had to do. I just sat here. I brought up one thing, and then you guys talked for 45 minutes.
To even tell you how bad it is for us to try to do a podcast, because we have like a horses and houses podcast, and we are.
Oh, that's our TikTok. Did you say that?
It's Allison Blake Real Estate if you type it in.
Houses.
Anyway, but even to just like get it set up and do the things is so hard. Or to have, I mean, this is only one kid tried to walk in during this. It's just the amount of like dog barking, or we have to do it at Blake's house, and it's his dogs, and then like you can't get everybody to sit on the screen, and so we just haven't really done it. We did one.
So we would take your podcast suggestions.
I will throw them. I'll give all of them to you. Honestly, I wing it most of the time. Like I have a decent setup, like when it's like this, like remote. But since we're down here in Wickenburg, I've done a few where like I have people come over to our house and we're like currently living in a casita. Like this half of my room is like a guest bed full of laundry.
Yeah.
And more laundry. And so like this looks clean and like
it's
not. The rest of it isn't.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You're like, I'm in the studio, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Put the
Well,
laundry
that's
over
what
there.
we thought we were gonna do was setting everything up. So we have like a desk that looked really professional. And with like suit jackets and everything. It was a big deal. It was so cold or like so hot or just like
we had like a heater under the desk that was trying to like blow hot air and you could just hear it like the entire time. And you're just like, and then you'd be like, like your pants would be really hot, but it was not good.
It was hard to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So next time when we do it, hopefully we'll be like, in a climate controlled studio with production.
It's so expensive to do stuff that way, or even to try to go back and edit. It's so hard to like look at yourself or listen to yourself talk. It's just such a horrible experience. I mean, I can't
despite how much we talk.
So like this, we sound like somewhat normal. Paige will be like, "Wow, she talks so fast," or whatever. Like obviously they're excitable. Blake would be like, "And when you are looking at real estate, it was the most bizarre thing. So weird.
Like,
and
I was
then
like, what am I doing?
Have, like
where am I?
Bad hair or like couldn't smile. I would just, and I sound great. Like if you were just listening to it, it sounds great.
Yeah, if you got it on
It was rough. And then you've recorded this like long stretch of things, and like we obviously lose attention really quickly, or like all in or all out. And so you're like, we take courses, and we're like, these are so stupid. Get on with it, or whatever. So we didn't want ours to be bad where people didn't want to listen to us or the information wasn't good. So then you have this like, clearly not letting it go.
There's some funny reels on there too of our bloopers. I think we have a couple of those on our social media. So check them out.
Yeah, if you really want to lead in, there's some good. Actually, we might be able to send those to you. Do you ever cut in with stuff like that?
We can add them somewhere. We could reshare them, repost
them.
I
could. Yeah, I bet I could find them. I bet you have them. They're pretty awesome.
They're funny. So
it's just me laughing like a horse because I think Blake's really funny. So that is most of our like when you have to do anything, it's just me going like this all the time. I laugh like a horse, just like I've never seen myself laugh like that ever before, except for I'm on camera. It's the wildest, most unfortunate thing. Yeah.
Putting a camera in your face, it humbles you. I couldn't listen to my first few podcast episodes because I was like, I hate the sound of my voice. And now I'm like, that's what I sound like, whatever.
That's what I sound like. Yeah, totally. Got to get over it. That's what I sound like.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Clearly I have friends. So.
How old are you, Crystal?
32, I think.
Yeah, it gets a little easier because it's like, this is just what I look like. Because they'll be like, oh, you want to do this to your face? I'm like, there's no, you can't. That's just what it's like.
Yeah. I have podcast guests. They're like, oh my God, it's video. I have to like get dressed up. I'm like, most of the time I just literally wear a hat. I was helping my husband paint containers before we came. So like my hands are covered in paint. I'm like, I literally just threw a hat on because whatever.
Yeah.
I never get dressed up for mine.
Like, when do you go back up to Montana? When are you in Montana in the summer?
We're not. We're braving Arizona all summer.
Oh wow.
You can wake up early and it'll be fine.
Quite a few summers.
Yeah. We my husband's from Colorado, and then like I was in Montana and Wyoming and everywhere, and it was like we don't know where we want to be, but we know we want to be here in the winters. So it's like, okay, we'll rough it out for a couple super hot months just to be able to be here in the winter.
Come to Washington for the summer. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to talk Brian into buying a living quarters and then like big enough for all of our riding horses. Then we could just like make like a giant loop in the summer.
I love that.
I haven't convinced it.
I have a 4-star living quarters and I love it.
Oh, I won't.
You can just be on the road.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. I was like, we could spend all summer going places, rope, ride, whatever. I don't care.
You guys must have just.
Thanks for riding along with me on Horses, Hope, and Hustle. If you found even a little bit of inspiration or grit here today, share it with a friend, leave a review, or tag us on socials. And keep showing up for what truly matters. Until next time, stay true, stay tough, and keep hustling.